Let's start with that U-turn by the US president just announced. We react, of course, immediately here at France 24 after an incendiary speech at Davos where he threw his weight around with a sequence of half-truths and insults against the rest of the world, especially Europe and NATO over Greenland. It's been announced in the past few minutes that Donald Trump has dropped his threat to impose tariffs on a number of nations, including France, for their stance on Greenland, saying he reached the outlines of a deal with NATO on the island's future. Let's bring in Dave Keating joining us live. Dave, good evening to you. It is a fast-moving story, this one, isn't it? Trump saying one thing in his speech at Davos, and now it appears taking a complete U-turn. Give us your sense of where they're at now.
Yeah, this is completely mystifying because just a few hours ago, Donald Trump reiterated that the U.S. must have Greenland and that the tariffs are designed to get Greenland. And then just a couple hours later, he says he's reached a deal with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte and he's dropping the tariffs. So either Mark Rutte just gave Donald Trump Greenland, which seems unlikely and actually not possible, or Trump has majorly chickened out here. Trump has backed away from these tariffs, and he's trying to sell this to his supporters as having reached a new deal with new concessions. But the fact of the matter is there really are no substantive concessions that Mark Rutte could have given him. There were no Danish government representatives there at that meeting, as far as we know. So what may have happened here is that Mark Rutte explained to Trump the existing rights that the U.S. has in Greenland under its treaty with Denmark, which is basically to deploy an unlimited number of troops and establish an unlimited number of bases. These are the rights that the U.S. has always had. That is the argument that Denmark and others have been stressing to Trump and his officials over the past weeks. It may be that Mark Rutte sold this to Trump as something new, or Trump understands that it's not new, but he's going to try to sell it to his supporters as something new so that it looks like he didn't chicken out here. The problem is this story has gotten huge attention, both in Europe and in the United States. His backers, both in the Congress and just his rank-and-file followers, have been saying for weeks that the existing rights that the U.S. has in Greenland are not enough, that they need to control the territory, in Trump's words, saying that the U.S. would have no interest in defending Greenland unless it owns Greenland. So it's going to be a very, very hard sell for them to try to convince people that the existing rights that the U.S. had in Greenland rather, are something new. Now, we still don't have information about what this supposed deal is, so it may be that there's something in there that the U.S. didn't have before, but I'm really struggling to think of what Mark Rutte possibly could have offered Trump that he would have been able to offer him, and that is actually something new.
Dave Keating, as always, we really appreciate your insight on these matters. It is a fast-moving story, perhaps more to come. Dave, as always, thank you very much indeed. Dave Keating, our Brussels correspondent there.